What's going on, guys? It's Justice here and welcome to a new RuneScape 3 progress episode. In this series, I take you through my general progression throughout the game with any and all goals that I decide to set just as a normal Mainscape player. You know, I'm a working dad, I've got 3 kids, full-time job, and I'm just trying to play when I can, and I'm sharing the progress of the different methods that I choose based on my life scenario and situation and the time that I can put into the game, and the different things that interest me and how I want to approach the game. So that's what this series is all about, and in particular, I do have that ongoing goal of, you know, that dream of like getting that completionist cape as well. You know, I'm a 20-year veteran player. When I returned back to the game, my mates persuaded me and kind of planted that seed again of, hey, you should go for completionist cape, and this time it stuck. So here we go, guys. This is the next episode in that series. Hope you enjoy. Alright, we are back on the mining grind, going for level 110, and I'm here at Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars are, or have been, fantastic XP in terms of the road to 110. I've been AFKing Seren Stones. Whenever a high tier pops up, I'll teleport to where that is. I think the beach event was going on in the game at this point in time, so you could literally just go to the beach in Lumbridge, teleport to a Shooting Star, and you're laughing. I did manage to get Rocky, the mining pet. Really chuffed about that. I think it's a really nice kind of side reward that you can get on your journey to master skill or achievement. I think there's a pretty high chance that you're going to get a skilling pet, either going for 110 or 120, unless you're my mate Icy Lemons, who went for 200 mil magic XP and still didn't manage to get the magic pet. So yeah, feel pretty bad about that one. But I think Jax overall has balanced the pet drops pretty well on RS3 when it comes to skilling. And that is 110 mining achieved. Well done, you've achieved the highest possible level in mining. This has been a pretty fun one. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about that gameplay loop again with the 110s, playing actively to get your gear upgrades, to then get more XP per hour, and then going back to your chosen activity to train up the skill. In this case, yep, it was that combination of Seren Stones and Shooting Stars. If you want to know more information about the entire journey here with mining, you can watch the last video where I actually go through that progression path of upgrading my gear for mining. And if you stick around to the end of the video, that's where I'm going to do a recap of the total XP gained in the various skills in today's video towards the master skill or achievement. I then decided to do the desert questline in preparation for a masker, and by God, this finale was absolutely phenomenal. It blew me away. The audio tracks, the voiceover dialogues, the environments, the art style, the instanced quest areas, you know, the intuition, how intuitive the quest was in terms of following it. Obviously, without a guide, RuneScape 3 doesn't have quest helper like old school. The puzzle rooms were really cool as well, a great addition in between to break up the quest. Meeting the lesser god, oh my god, right, no more. I'm gonna put all of these thoughts and expand them out into a dedicated video of how I think quests are absolutely top tier right now in RuneScape 3 and how I really want this quality to continue. Fingers crossed it does continue into Haven Height, which is going to be the expansion later this year. So that'd be absolutely awesome, either this year or 26. But I'll end it there, guys. And if you want to hear more thoughts on questing, check out my dedicated video on that, which should be out on the channel soon. After completing the quest, I was then able to upgrade the primed Keris to the consecrated Keris, I believe. I think it was after this quest, I may be getting confused. I had to go and kill 200 profane scarabs, and then it upgraded it. This is the best melee main hand against scarabs, cow fights, and those types of creatures in the game. Oh! Oh! Achievement complete! You've unlocked the true power of the Keris. Skabara's magic now allows you to use the Keris effect against the followers of a masker. Nice! Let's go! We've got the consecrated Keris. Specifically, it boosts hit chance by 15%. It's 25% if you combine that with the Desert Amulet 3, which you can get from completing the desert task. And it deals 33.3% more damage against these creatures. Funnily enough, it also works against corrupted creatures and soul devourers, and that includes bosses within the Sanctum of Rebirth. So Vermix, Kezalam the Wanderer, and Nikatra the Devourer. And according to Wiki, it does work against a masker. But I've not seen anyone use it there yet. Maybe people are going to start using that with hybriding, with a melee switch. At the moment, most people are just using the EZK as a switch, but I don't know, maybe the Keris as a main hand and the Leng as an offhand could be pretty cool. Don't count me on that, could be a wiki error, I'm not sure. Comment down below if you know for sure. I then began working on forging my own Death Warden Nexus, which effectively allows you to hold a bunch of necromancy runes in there. And I know this is an ongoing complaint of the player base. Please increase the cap on normal rune pouches as well. Like, it's obviously possible because we've got it on the necromancy pouch and we can put so many runes in there. Please let us do that on normal rune pouches. But yeah, here's some live commentary of me forging and working towards the Nexus item. I love how this game can be like so nice in a chill way, and then it can also just be crazy intense with PVM. Like, you get the total extremes, don't you? It depends how you play the game, but like just sticking these tunes on and just chilling out, technically doing like completionist requirements, like just absolute, yeah, S tier. Going to the smithy. There we go. Is this the Sacred Forge, or that's the Soul Forge? Okay. There we go, guys. Death Warden Nexus and Soul Bar, Silver Bar, Sapphire upgrade. Heck yeah. That was easy. Death Warden Nexus. Huge. Yeah, it's cool. Definitely going to want to upgrade that with some Vorky kills. So we are currently, we have only 13 kills, and that's normal mode, so yeah, not hurting too much. So me and Chewie are going to blast. We want some loot. If anyone, maybe Mark or someone could join, you know, yeah, Solacton, something like that. Whatever's going to make us just some money. I need some more money. I'm skint. We need some money to prep for a mascot. I know, I need Vorkath kills though. So we'll see. There's no way I'm getting 100 Vorkath kills, like, otherwise, like, within a certain time frame. So it makes sense to do it. By the way, this looks insanely cool, doesn't it? So do I go in here and just like tune it up on the Dark Portal or something? Oh, nice. It's attuned. I'll take it. Oh, nice. Nice. Does that mean I can put stuff in it? I can wear it now. Nice. Oh, jeez. Oh, I can put runes in it, boys. Yes. Oh. Oh, God, when you... Oh, what is happening? I don't want to grind them. I can put all 4 in, boys. Nice. Progress. Also, coming back to the game, it seems like a couple of new talents came out on the Necromancy talent tree. By the way, really like the idea of talent trees. They only do it with Necromancy, with it being a new skill. Follow similar concepts to other MMORPGs out there. It's a really nice kind of way of adding another system or layer to the game, and this was a quicker way for you to unlock abilities through a kind of dedicated area of the game without you having to interlink too much with the other parts, which is another reason why Necromancy is so accessible, is that they've got it all within its own progression path without being influenced too much with other things. Whether that's a good or bad thing, again, you know, it does go against every other way of progressing a skill, a combat skill in the game, but it does make it a lot more accessible. It streamlines it, and it allows people to get through into PVMing a lot easier. Watched a video recently of a guy I've started following on YouTube called Diamond Fang, I think his name is, and he goes through how RS3 PVM is just absolutely and utterly underrated out there on the market, how it can be extremely good. There's definitely some major pitfalls with it, but there's also some major highs with it. But one of the biggest issues is the barrier to entry, but it is a horizontal progression game at the end of the day. But yeah, the barrier to entry is pretty damn steep with other styles. Compared to Necromancy, a lot of it's within its own progression path. This is a prime example of that with the talent tree and how you upgrade it. So yeah, I mean, at this point, it's been, I don't know, 6+ months since I PVM'd on the game. I'm having to make some supplies, and I'm also making supplies in preparation for a mascot. So I went out and bought 450 Elder Overload supplies in order to make them. And this is obviously in preparation for the bit of a grind, well, the grind to get 100 Vorkath kills as well. So all of this is going into that PVM loot. As well as that, the main other potion that you kind of have to make as a PVMer these days is the Adrenaline Renewal Potion. That is something you can't buy, and it does require quite a few steps in order to get to the point of making the Adrenaline Renewal, but it is the best potion in terms of gradually gaining adrenaline over time during your DPS rotation. You definitely get into like the rhythm of the game, don't you, on this game? It takes a while, like if you've been away from the game for a while, like for PVM that is. Once you get into it, it just feels good. Like, you start to realize, though, what you can change with your keybinds a bit, of like where it's just not feeling good with where your fingers are at. And then you change a few things here and there. Every single time I come back to the game, I change a few keybinds.
Rise, my loyal ones. Destroy this rat hole.
Oh no.
Yes.
The hell? I didn't have a target? It's not getting me a dren.
Oh,
well, it's okay. Come on, Bustons.
You dare to resist me, you abomination!
That's a PB to end on a high, mate. To end on a high. 6 seconds. Nice. That's a end strong. End strong. Spoils of war. Here it is. Zemo's Nexus. Let's go. We did it. We did it. So I effectively obtained 100 Vorkath kills through a mixture of hard mode with trio and duo kills, and then eventually the dig site, aka Danny, and then eventually Danny, aka the dig site, suggested doing normal speed kills. And I thought, you know what, I've literally got a day left to do this before a mask gets out. I really need this upgrade so I don't have to keep shield switching. Although I did end up shield switching for the extended barricade, but for just general defensive usages such as reflect or resonancing, I really didn't want to be shield switching, and so really wanted this Nexus upgrade to have the higher tier bone shield. Overall, it's also just really cool to have, and it's a collection log unlock. So I ended up with a bunch of normal caskets and hard mode caskets. So this is just me spam click opening caskets. I think pretty much like the first time I've ever done this on this game. I know like casket opening has become a trend now in the game. With bosses like this where chests are dropped and you unlock them. Overall, I'm more of a fan of just seeing the item dropped on the floor, but I'm also a massive fan of recent years where player glows up with a particle effect, or the chest glows up, or both in terms of a mascot. I'm really big fan of that as well. It really gets you hyped up, you know, knowing that there's going to be a drop in that chest. You just don't know which one it is. But I did manage to get some of the Vorkath spike drops, about 28 mil worth on one drop, and I'm pretty certain I got it again later on, and that's all I got. I didn't get any of the other unique drops from Vorkath, and I made obviously most of the money through the hard mode drops. The normal loot is absolutely shockingly bad. Overall, I ended with this journey of never wanting to go back to Vorkath, if I'm being honest. It just seems a bit of a cluster F. I know you can figure things out and you can speed and you can start skipping. And I'm sure if you start optimizing your DPS supremely to do skips, etc., and just focus all of your damage through hybriding maybe into a melee Zerk rotation onto Zemo, then yes, it will make the fight more enjoyable in some ways, but that is extremely tryhard. Overall, without that, the fight is a bit of a cluster F. You know, you've got ads flying everywhere. Without a necromancy nuking those, you know, with AoE, it just becomes even messier in hard mode. So yeah, I wasn't a massive fan, but obviously didn't understand the fight thoroughly enough. There's ways around it with power creep and certain setups. But yeah, I've not been back there since. Okay, so back to general progress. Turns out I didn't even have the old DAC coil, which is like the mage variant of the ranged dwarf multi-cannon. And so I went out and made that. Luckily, I had about 155 goblin points for some reason stacked up from the early days of invention, going years back. So I managed to unlock the tech tree and then make the old DAC coil. And that will help me on my Slayer grind to level 120. I've now decided to train up crafting as my next 110 skill, linked to crafting Starbloom gear, which is a brand new 110 method that has been released. The whole crafting guild actually has been reworked and it looks absolutely beautiful now, and the crafting guild master's in there and it just looks fantastic in there. So I think they've done a great job in terms of visuals there and feeling, you know, kind of like OG RuneScape, everyone hanging out in a particular area doing a skill. It takes me back to the Yanil days where everyone was fletching magic longbows, and then you had high alkers who were buying those magic U longbows to then high out to train their magic up, and they usually tended to be the rich guys, like kind of buying off the people making the supplies for them to train their magic level. And it was just like this like mini economy, this mini circle of transactions going on within the wider world, you know, and this happened in different areas of the world for different things like smithing over in Varrock, etc. So it really took me back to that time where people were hanging out The fastest way to train crafting through this is to craft the Adorned Star Bloom set. And in order to do that, you need a full set of Star Bloom +5. And that's extremely difficult to buy off the Grand Exchange. Like, you have to buy, well above mid price. And even then, just the quantities coming into the game are very low because most people are doing just tops only, which is what I ended up doing. So I ended up doing tops from +4 to +5. But you had this like mini economy going on just in the crafting guild, people making the sets and then saying, hey, I'm selling sets, is anyone buying? And you had those, rich people at the Adorned area making Adorned sets. And I was really tempted to go for that, but I calculated the differences between +4 and +5. And I was doing this during double experience weekend. And I didn't mind doing an extra third of training for about, 350 mil less, than going for sets. And it would have been difficult to buy the sets. So I just went out and bought a load of +4 tops and crafted that way. In terms of the method that I chose, it ended up being 2.8 million XP an hour, which was just absolutely insane, like fantastic. And that was during double XP. One really important note to make is I'm kind of glad I kept with tops. If you do the adorning of sets, it's really not AFK at all because there is a kind of mini event within crafting where in order to make sure that you don't miscut a set or the process, which halves your progress if you miscut too many times. I think it's like by the time you get to a higher level, it might be you can miscut 6 times or maybe less. I'm not sure when you're adorning. But effectively, if you want to actually maximize your experience gained whilst you're adorning, because you're spending that much money anyway, when that green bar appears, you do have to be clicking to get the maximum, cut chance or whatever it's called, and that excels your progress effectively. Not to like give out too much misinformation because I didn't do the adorning. I don't know if you can actually miscut, but just in terms of like getting your progress at a fast rate, you do have to be clicking very, very often. And even more so if you wear the expert amulet, which effectively, increases the progress rate at which you're crafting. And therefore that green bar is going to show even more often. So it really isn't AFK. That method of adorning sets is extremely quick. It's not AFK. Now, there is a method, thanks to a random guy, Icy Oblivion, I think his name was, in the crafting guild, who was just really, really helpful to everyone there. And he effectively gave the tip of inventory swapping items. So effectively, in order to make it more AFK, let's say you're working or you're playing another game and you've got it on your second monitor, as you increase in crafting level as well, it allows for more miscuts before the entire item is damaged, and that then halves your progress. So before it gets fully damaged, you can let's say, 4 cuts happen on that item, and then you can go and check over after about a minute and a half, and then you can swap that item with another one in your bags really, really quickly, as long as you've got your bags unlocked. And then it will start crafting that other item, and it'll allow, and again, it's still going to maintain the XP rate. It's not actually going to break any of the progress that's going on, which is really efficient because you're still getting the XP drops. And then it'll just start miscutting on that fresh top, let's say in my scenario. And eventually you'll get through all the tops in your bags, and then you'll have to repair, but at least you're repairing them all in one go, and you're not wasting clicks. So as a whole, it actually makes it closer to becoming an AFK method. I still wouldn't say it's a very AFK method though. It's definitely not something I could do while, I was completely focused on something else. I did have to be there. You could definitely watch like a program or whatever, but it's definitely not, I wouldn't classify it as like a true AFK method, like the fletching of martial bows or smithing of rune plate bodies. It's not as AFK as that. It's definitely a choice that they have decided to make with this skill. Why they've made it with this skill and not the other ones, I don't know. You of course do have that option though of letting just everything break, right? And you're just effectively crafting broken gear. I'm pretty certain that's the thing. It's just halved your progress. You're spending a lot of money though for your kind of XP per hour and the amount you're going to have to train. You're spending a lot of money for that to be extended, by double the amount of time. And that's not something I really wanted to do. Or it's something I wasn't willing or couldn't do because it was double XP and I wanted to maximize the time I was playing at that weekend when I was crafting. As soon as you get to level 108 crafting, it does become more AFK, especially with the event swapping method because it allows for 7 miscuts. So you don't have to draft all of the tops up front. Draft enough for maybe 108 max, and then once you hit level 108, then draft some more of whatever Star Bloom set piece you're deciding to craft. I also managed to smelt the best in slot offhand for crafting, which is the Artificer's Measure, and that gave me passively plus 5% extra crafting XP. And like how I started this video, I did manage to get the crafting pet. As I said, really nice bonus reward as you're training towards the Master Skiller achievement. And there we go, guys. 110 crafting achieved, another major skill ticked off the list on my journey towards the Master Skiller achievement. And I did this whilst watching the World of Warcraft World First Race. So yeah, pretty awesome to achieve this one. Onwards to the next skilling journey, which is to obtain level 110 runecrafting. I've progressed some of this in earlier episodes through protein essences on double experience weekend on soul altars. However, for this double XP weekend, guys, the Jayax did a monetization experiment once again, where they disabled a ton of MTX items. Therefore, I couldn't use protein essences, and it actually encouraged me to go and train runecrafting through the traditional altar running method. And so I did all my research, I got all my gear set up, and big thanks to Abhishek, a friend of mine, who managed to give me a lot of tips of what sort of setup I should be going with. And I decided to runecraft necromancy runes, and these were netting me a really decent chunk of XP per hour, and I got into the rhythm of it eventually, speed running back and forth from the necro bank into the altar using the bracelet. Gear-wise, I set myself the goal of getting the expansive pouch, obviously, to increase the XP per hour. It subsumes all the other pouches into it and expands the capacity, allowing you to hold 70 runes, in this case impure runes. Obviously got the loadout set up in the bank as well with the Abyssal Titan to store even more runes, and got all the presets sorted, so it was just one click of a button, boom, everything's filled up, and then you just get straight back to the altar running. In order to make this as smooth as possible, I also crafted the mobile perk through the invention skill and applied that onto my augmented Excalibur. Effectively reduces the CD of your surge and dive abilities, and it allows you to fit those in seamlessly to always be diving and surging in between banking. And once I got into the rhythm of it, it took around probably about 4.5 hours or so to 5 hours of constant altar running throughout an afternoon on the double experience weekend. It was a weekend for me because I was away on holiday, and I came back and I just wanted to cram in as much training as possible. And I did manage to achieve 110 runecrafting. So another skilling goal ticked off the list. I believe I already have the runecrafting pet, so I didn't get it on this video. And yeah, watching this back has actually reminded me about the rune doku puzzle that I had to do in order to make the expansive pouch in the end, one of the last steps required. And this is one of the first times I actually managed to persuade my wife to come and watch and at least give a go playing RuneScape. And she was there sat next to me, and we were trying to do the puzzle together. And by God, it was horrendous. Like, you know, trying to do this puzzle, it was so complex. I'm not like a massive puzzle person when it comes to Sudokus, and they're in the newspaper and various things like that. So yeah, anyways, I know there's puzzle solvers as well online, but we committed to it and we got through it together, and we managed to solve the Rune Doku puzzle. And she did say, I hope it was worth it at the end of it. Don't worry, we're not getting divorced. But yeah, I said to her, it definitely was. It's the best pouch in the game. Best in slot. But yeah, that now leaves me with 3 skills left to get the Master Skiller achievement. That's Farming, Slayer, and Herbalore. Double experience weekends being extended, or the double XP periods being extended, coming up in a few days' time. Next reset. And so I'll probably exploit that with Herbalore likely, and then I can keep semi-AFKing Slayer to 120, which I have got into the rhythm of a little bit now, especially with the triple daily, all put onto Slayer, and I use the Abyssal Mass to guarantee an Abyssal Slayer task. Farming is going to be the slog, and I'm going to go into farming now in terms of how I've set it up. Alright, so the approach I've taken with the player-owned farms, I've built 2 large pens here, and I've put black dragons in there. That they take about a week to get to Elder, and then I'll gather the produce XP all in one go alongside the dinos that I'll get to in a second. I've also unlocked the ability for them to breed. So I'm not buying dragons all the time, but for the most part, I'll probably end up putting 2 of these dragons, a male and female, into the breeding pen and just start breeding black dragons, because they do cost quite a lot of money. I don't want to be buying these from the Grand Exchange. So my main goal here is to get that cycle of breeding going with the black dragons. Luckily with the player-owned farm, you can actually hire an NPC to collect the breeded, unchecked animals And so that's what I plan on doing here. Collect some of the black dragons, then do some of the zygo mites. So I've done zygos for medium pens. Just start collecting those as well because they can add up in cost. So I don't really want to be paying for anything here. So I want to try and start stacking up the eggs like I've done with brutish dinosaurs. I've also built a storm barn so I can start putting my checked animals in there. And yeah, that's the cycle of farming for me. We'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping I start seeing some major XP drops and some progress each week. Otherwise, this is going to take over a year. I've not calculated it yet. I'm expecting to get some massive XP drops, and you'll see that in the next progress episode. By the way, in case I forget to say this, the next progress episode, there's going to be a big gap between this one and the next one because RS3 Leagues is coming out. And I do plan on just playing that out and hopefully making progress videos in this sort of style. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comment section below. So the last skill I'll end with today is slaying. I do need to go and get Slayer. I am in the process of training Slayer up to 120. I'm going to be doing it in a semi-AFK way. One of the main methods is by doing an abyssal task like every day or whenever I'm choosing to play RuneScape on that day, I'll quickly get an abyssal task done or when I'm editing videos. But I thought I'd touch on endgame Slayer, and the reason why I'm terming it like this is because you really do need a good setup for this particular task. It's the first time I've had this, and it's a moss golem task. You can kill any type of this creature in this area. It's where Soulike, an incredibly designed boss, is located. And the Moss Golems is a really good Slayer task. It's one of the best actually in the game. It's insane XP per hour. But the setup really matters for this task, you know, in order to be able to AFK it, as well as like your positioning. So in this particular case, using PVME as a guide as well, had to make sure darkness was activated. The inspiration aura actually made a massive difference here due to the adrenaline gain from basic attacks to allow me to use my thresholds a bit quicker as well and make sure that rotation keeps flowing and making sure that I get the Devo activated. The Revo bar setup was very particular and chosen as well, and that was copied from PVME. Enhanced Devoted perk was a huge difference. I think it's like 50% damage reduction in total on average across the task, let's say, due to that proccing whilst I'm camping melee prayer, and that acts like the devotion ability when it procs. And Necromancy in its own right has a lot of self-sustain that allowed you to AFK this task a lot easier than, let's say, some other styles. Being located up here at the top also allows the Moss Golems to come into you, in terms of kite into you, a lot better, and you also don't aggro too many of them to the point where you're going to die. So this was a really cool task example, and I wanted to put it in the video, and it's definitely one I hope I get in the future again. And it is fun, like figuring out these setups and also just kind of going and seeing what the community has figured out and copying kind of the best setup to go and do certain tasks. And you do get into the rhythm of it. So now I know exactly how I want to set up for this Moss Golem task in the future. So I managed to get a Slayer task at the No Done Assault, killing No Done warriors and hunters and various things like that, and artificers. And I managed to get the upgrade kit. I didn't even know this was a drop in the game. I had noticed people using like a dragon version of the multi-cannon. I had no idea it was sourced from this drop. So I managed to get an upgrade kit. This is worth 36 million GP. Pretty nice, pretty nice. But I decided to use this myself. Didn't even realize this existed. And it actually has a fantastic passive unlock where it applies an additional 100% damage multiplier for all of your ranged cannons. So now I've got 200% damage coming from my cannon. I had no idea this existed in the game. That's what happens when you have breaks from the game and you come back, but really happy to get this unlock. But I prefer the look of the OG Royal Cannon, so I reverted the look of the cannon back by speaking to the NPC in the Artisan's Workshop, and I still get the damage multiplier on it because it's a permanent unlock across the ranged cannons. The Blessed Flask, which is the best in slot prayer restoration potion, you could say, in the game, because it allows you to consolidate a ton of super restores into just one flask, which takes up just one inventory slot. Something which I know I would have found extremely useful for Soulike release, where my very first kill was like 25 minutes long. So just knowing that you've got infinite prayer basically from just being able to click this flask is just absolutely amazing, and it's extremely OP. So luckily most fights don't require this because you get away with just having a restore due to the prayer renewals that you get through overloads. But overall, this is a fantastic object to get. Definitely very, very useful when you're learning fights or in just a scenario or an encounter that's longer. Maybe we'll start to get more of those in the future. But yeah, in order to get this more efficiently, when the time runes came out and the time spells alongside that, there is a particular spell that significantly speeds up time-gated progression. In this case, Red Sandstone, where there is a daily lockout. So by using the advanced time spell, I can reset this lockout and I can do it 3 extra times in a particular day, right? Because I'll just keep resetting it each time whilst I'm here. So I can do it 4 times in total in a particular day, 3 extra times in an entire week. My best mate Chewy, he used it during archaeology research in order to maximize how much experience he was gaining from activating this advanced time spell, and he could just do it in one go and earn like millions of XP or something. I think it was like 270k XP per research that he had through archaeology. That's how he got to 200 mil archaeology XP in the end. So it's pretty damn cool, the different scenarios that you can use it in. I've chose to use it here to get the Blessed Flask. Fingers crossed I get it one day. Okay, so let's take a look at this website called runepixels.com. This was recommended to me by M with Z, who is an avid commenter on my YouTube videos and also runs his own creator network on Discord. And he's a really awesome guy. So he recommended this site. He noticed me faffing around and messing around with rune metrics and complaining about how awful it is. So I'm checking this out now. I've typed my name in and we're going to start tracking the XP that I managed to gain during this episode with the roughly, I think, 3 to 4 main skills that I've been training. Obviously, I've done a few extra things in today's video, but yeah, let's focus on those skills. So we'll start off with crafting. I've selected crafting. We're going to apply it. So as you can see, little crafting there through lamps, but this has been the main month here. So during the month of August, I've managed to gain 21.9 million crafting XP. Before that, though, I did finish off mining, the majority of that done in July. What's that? 15.7 million XP there completed. And runecrafting, you can see here where I've done some protein essence training in March, 10.4 million. But finishing it off in August with 4.2 million that I did with necromancy altar running. We've been doing some Slayer gradually here and there, starting properly in July, you know, getting like 4 million XP there. In August, I managed to get 4.7 million XP. I'm just going to keep gradually getting that over time. I'm about 30 mil left to go until 120 Slayer. I did Herbalore in July in preparation for a Mascot. That's purely just from making like overloads. What's that, like 4.4 mil XP? I've not trained Herbalore properly yet, but I reckon that might come next week. I've got a huge amount of XP to go, again about 30 mil, and I'll see if I can get around to doing that in the double XP in the upcoming week. And farming, that is absolutely dreadful. You can tell I haven't got into the motion yet. I've only just set that up, as you could see in this video, and I hope to continue that moving forward. Fingers crossed that I've made some big progress by the next episode. So Herbalore, Slayer, and farming, guys, look out for that in the next episode. That'll be well after RS3 Leagues is over, so it may be a couple of months plus 3 months away. But that's the journey, guys. That's what I'm going to be going on to get Master Skiller. I am now filling in as well with just some completionist requirements over the next week. Yeah, after the Mascot kind of crazy hype and just playing non-stop because I had a week off work and getting the 2K Tumakan's Aura, it was just absolutely amazing. And then I went on a bit of a low after that because it was just so amazing to get fully immersed into the game again, being off work and then being able to just spend so many hours just grinding at a Mascot. When I got back into my normal life routine, it was quite difficult to kind of shake that, and everything else felt a bit like just not as fun, you know, not as good. So then I thought, you know what, I need to go back into some comp requirements, and that's where I've kind of got to again. I've kind of moving away from PVM again a little bit, gone back into the comp grind. But now RS3 Leagues is coming out, so I'm going to enjoy some games a little bit in this 2-week hiatus before Leagues are out. And then absolutely blast RS3 again with Leagues, and obviously loads of PVM to come with that. And yeah, hopefully I haven't missed anything, guys, but that is the episode over for today. If you do really enjoy these videos, let me know by giving it a like. It's massively appreciated. It really lets me know that people are enjoying this sort of content. It takes a lot of editing power to get through this, and there's stacks and stacks and hundreds of hours of progress, you know, recorded and stacked up to edit and put into this video. I've got some ways of doing it, but yeah, it does take a long time, like a full afternoon or day of editing to get it boxed off. So thanks, guys, for watching today. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. That would be absolutely awesome for future vids. I will be posting RS3 Leagues as well, hopefully, and it will be in a similar style. Hopefully, I'm so engrossed into that I'll be able to just smash out commentary talkovers of the progress. So let's hope I can find some time to upload. It's going to be difficult. It always is. I don't know if I mentioned in this video yet, but yeah, working dad, you know, I've got 3 kids, full-time job. I'm approaching this game casually these days and still trying to make progress in the time that I have to play. and choosing those methods based on, you know, that life scenario and what's going on in my life. So really enjoying the game still. It's close to my heart and I want to keep continuing to play. Maybe one day I'll get completionist cape. That'd be pretty damn amazing, and I'll definitely be advertising that so you guys can share in the joy of me getting that. But we'll see. I'll keep posting vids here and there, absolutely, based on the progression. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. Good luck in your progress in any and all games, and I'll see you guys in the next one.